So it's been a rough couple of days out here in Ventura County. About 3 nights ago, a fire broke out in Santa Paula, which is about 20 miles from my house. And just within a few hours, that fire spread all the way from Santa Paula to Ventura. And I woke up about midnight and I could see it up on the mountains above my house. And, you know, at that point, I wasn't too worried because I thought, okay, the fire's on the hill and there's no way it's gonna go down the hill and get onto my property. So I didn't really panic, I just went back to sleep. And when I woke up, I'm guessing around 6 in the morning, maybe a little earlier, my room was filled with smoke. I looked outside, I could see fires. The smoke was so thick I couldn't see far, but there was already a fire out in my field. I went outside, I couldn't even see back in my field because there was so much smoke, and I could hear the crackling of flames. And by that time, it was too late. My workshop was already destroyed by the fire. And my storage unit right here that's behind me had about 80% of my woodworking tools in it, and all those are completely gone now. I had a lot of my nice wood that I was doing woodworking projects with out here, and all of that's gone now. This is a really tough situation, and I guess, I'm thinking about what am I doing today. My main goal is to keep an eye on my house and my storage units that are closer to my house, because those storage units still have some of my tools and a lot of my nicer wood inside them. So what I'm doing today is I'm just trying to make sure that the house is going to be safe and the storage units are going to be safe. And the fire department told me to hang around and keep my hose close by and my shovel close by, because there's still a lot of little fires breaking out, a lot of smoke. The wind is the big factor today. If the wind kicks up, everything could still catch on fire, and we could be back where we were a couple days ago with big fires, burning brush and trees and everything else. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and go up to my storage units that are closer to my house, where I can keep an eye on the house and those storage units, and just try to protect those at all costs. Right now there's a huge fire across the street. I need to keep my eye on it. It's actually across the freeway, but those flames can jump the freeway really fast and get into some of the brush that's in my front yard. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. But while I'm watching everything, I also feel like I need to keep my mind occupied. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put together some of the tools that I can find and grab a few pieces of wood and just do a little woodworking project just to keep my mind off of some of these problems that I'm dealing with right now. Still trying to process all this, but sometimes a woodworking project really helps to take my mind off of the problems that are going on, and just kind of give me something to do while I keep an eye on the house and the property. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and head up there now, and I guess, try to stay busy. So the wind's starting to kick up now, and I figured the very best thing I could do today is just hang out right here and keep an eye on things. This spot gives me a good vantage point of all the perimeter of my storage units, and I can see my house really well. And I've got my hose out, I've got my shovel ready, so I'm just gonna really keep an eye on things because the wind's really kicking up. And you know, my house is still in great danger, same with my storage units. And like I said, I'm just gonna try to stay busy and kind of keep my mind off of the problems that are happening by doing a little woodworking project. But while I'm working on the woodworking project, my main priority is going to be to keep an eye on the surrounding area and be ready to put out any fires that might break out, or call 911 if I need to. So I have to admit, it's going to be a little bit challenging to do a project today. You know, my main workshop storage unit was burned and all the tools are gone, but I'm still grateful to have this storage unit, and I do have quite a few tools in here. I bought a lot of tools over the years at garage sales and stuff, and I know I've got stuff hiding in here that I probably don't even know that I have. But one of the tools I really depend on for most of my projects is a jigsaw. And I really don't know if I have a jigsaw in here. I had 3 jigsaws in my main storage unit, and those are gone now. So I'm just gonna dig around in here and see what kind of tools I can put together, and then see what kind of wood I can find, and just try to find some sort of inspiration for today's project. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I have to hang around here anyway and, you know, watch the wind, make sure the wind doesn't kick any new fires up. So since I've got to be here, I just need to get started on a project just to sort of stay busy and try to get through this. So the wind's really been kicking up, and as you can see behind me, there's a huge fire across the freeway. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm just walking around all my storage units and making sure that no embers go into the parts of the yard where it's not smoking. I'm trying to keep all the smoking stuff where it is right now and make sure it doesn't blow over to the areas where it's not smoking. So I'm just constantly walking the line and checking it all out all the way around, because the wind's really been kicking up, and this is what we fear with this fire, because I'm far from out of danger here. My house is still in big danger of burning down, and my other storage units are still right in the line of fire here. So anyway, I'm gonna stay out here all day and monitor this, and probably even into the night, just to make sure that you know, the fire doesn't go where I don't want it to go. Okay, so it turned out it was a really busy day dealing with all these smoldering piles and hot ashes all day. So I didn't make any progress on this woodworking project like I had planned on doing this morning. But I did manage to find a few tools, and I've sort of got a game plan going so that tomorrow morning I can get started. I found this chop saw in one of my storage units, and I've had it for quite a while, but I've never actually plugged it in or used it, so I really have no idea if it works. And I've got this table saw that I bought at a garage sale probably about a month ago or so, and I spent 25 bucks on it, and I've never plugged it in, and I have no idea how sharp the blade is, or if it's really even usable. But I guess I'll find out tomorrow. But I did manage to find the one critical tool that I really need to do this project with, and that's this jigsaw right here. And it was on the bottom shelf of my storage unit. I really didn't even know that I had it, and it has one blade in it, so I'm really hoping this blade is sharp and that I don't break it doing this project, because I didn't see any extra blades, and I really don't want to have to go to the store and buy anything for this project. So I've got a bit of a plan going of what I want to do. I found this piece right here. So I want to do a wall art sculpture and use this as the centerpiece. And then I managed to find a bunch of small pieces that I really like. Here's a couple of them right here. So I figured what I would do is I would use that piece as the centerpiece and build some sort of framework for it. I don't know exactly how I want to do the framework. I'm going to have to lay out quite a few pieces and see what's available, and then see what tools are in good working order to see what I can even do. So this project's, I'm really going to be limited by what I'm able to do with the tools I have. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and spend the rest of the day dealing with these smoldering piles and hot ashes to make sure that they don't get any closer to the storage units tonight. And then I'll go ahead and get started on this woodworking project tomorrow morning. So I'm not making as much progress as I had originally hoped to make on this wall art sculpture. This fire has been beyond anything that I ever imagined a fire could be, and it's lasting way longer than I ever imagined a fire could last. It started on Monday, December 4th. Now it's Saturday, December 9th. And I've basically spent the last few days spending most of my days watching the fire break between the field and my storage units. And you know, it's been 5 days and we still have smoldering areas in the field, and there's even little fires kicking up here and there. So I've got to keep a close eye on all of that. And I'm in the very best place I can possibly be, which is right here, because I can see most of the fire break, and I can also keep a good eye on the house. And I don't know if you just saw that cloud of smoke, but a fire just kicked up across the street that wasn't there, well, across the freeway that wasn't there a few minutes ago. I also found out there's a mandatory evacuation 1 mile north of me, and it was extremely smoky here about, I don't know, an hour ago, but luckily the wind shifted north, so now I've got a little bit of cleaner air right now. So what I've done is I've backed my truck up, and if for any reason the mandatory evacuation comes down to here, I'm going to throw as many tools as I possibly can in the back of the truck, and I'm also going to take this wall art sculpture that I'm working on. So I just wanted to say a few words about how this wall art sculpture is going. Now, when I first started, I knew that I wanted this as the centerpiece, and that hasn't changed. But I also thought I was going to use a bunch of these narrow pieces that are already cut, and I thought I was going to use these pieces to build a frame for it. So the major change that happened is I found a couple of full width pieces that I really liked, and I decided to build the frame out of those pieces. So I took the first full width piece, I cut it in half, and I built the inner part of the frame. And then I took the other full width piece and I cut it into approximately 3-inch wide pieces, and I just barely had enough pieces to go all the way around the inner frame. So that's how it goes sometimes with rustic woodworking. I'm always prepared to make last second changes, and you know, even if I do draw a sketch of my idea, you know, sometimes I'll do that just to kind of remember it and keep an idea of what I want as an end result. I'm always prepared to make last second changes and never really stick with the plan too closely. And this is an example of that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this wall art sculpture, and hopefully, you know, I guess hopefully the fire doesn't come down here, and hopefully I don't have to evacuate, and hopefully I can make a little bit of progress and maybe even finish this thing today. But you know, that all just depends on the wind and what happens. So it's Monday, December 11th, and the air was really smoky this morning, but it's finally starting to clear up a little bit. So I was finally able to put out all those smoldering areas that were out in my field out. So I actually feel really good about that. And you know, today is the first day that I finally feel comfortable leaving that spot that I've been in for the last few days. But I'm really not in great shape right now because I've still got some dry brush that's close to me, and these trees that are around my house are just really dry. And you know, I don't see any immediate fires burning close to me, but I do see a lot of smoke, and I really won't be in great shape until we get a really good rain here. So I'll definitely be sleeping very lightly for the next week or 2 or 3 until we do get a good rainstorm. And anyway, you know, regardless of how difficult it's been over the last week, I'm really glad that I was able to do this woodworking project. I guess I'm really thankful that I had some wood to work with and that I still had some tools. And the thing that I guess I'm most thankful for is that I still have a wall to hang this finished artwork on. You know, I've been at this house for about 24 years now. I've got a lot of finished art inside, and I guess, you know, out of all the negative stuff that's happened, I feel in some ways very thankful right now. And, you know, I guess I am really happy with the way this woodworking project turned out. Now, it may have turned out a lot different if I had all my regular tools and my regular workshop that I work in. The table saw that I bought at the garage sale actually turned out to be a really nice saw, so that was a really good buy. The tool that I probably missed the most that I didn't have was my grinder. I think I use a grinder on almost every woodworking project, and not having it was, you know, really difficult at times, but I did the very best I could to get through it. And I'm happy with the way the project turned out. So to bring this video to a close, you know, normally I would say something like, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and good luck on your next woodworking project. But for me, you know, the whole video for me isn't really enjoyable except for the woodworking portion. Which I actually did really enjoy, because something about woodworking is no matter what's going on in my life, whenever I start cutting wood and doing a project, all my problems just seem to disappear for a little while. So anyway, on that note, let's just hope this fire dies down and no other structures burn down and nobody gets hurt. So I'll see you guys on the next video, and until then, good luck on your next woodworking project.